Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Litchfield County Sports Program. I'm your host, Tim Gaffney, here at the Litchfield Saltwater Grille. We want to thank our good friend Andy for allowing us to have the loft tonight. We're in rather spacious surroundings this evening here in Litchfield on April 11, 2016. To my left, I've got a Rick, and to my right, I've got a Patrick, but it's a different Patrick than you used to. But Mr. Wilson,
same old Rick. How are you?
Same old Rick is in the building. And we've got Patrick Higgins from WAPJ, the Friday morning Sports Talk. Now, you're a lot less energetic at 7 o'clock at night.
Give me like 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. You'll pick up the pace. We do about a 10-18 spot on Friday morning after Pat has had a few cups of coffee, and we go pretty fast, and we go large. You're doing a terrific job.
Thanks, sir.
You know, there on WAPJ. Rick, as we know, that's where we got this all started.
Yeah, it seems like a while ago that we were on Water Street looking out the windows over at whatever drifted by at the time.
Fire truck,
yeah,
random guy walking.
Fire truck, occasionally a couple people peering in the window.
Still
the old Titan store was across the street.
That's right. Sandra Stockton was over there with the Titan store and the rest of it, so occasionally people peering in. But WAPJ was very good to us. It's really where we got our start. Litchfield County Sports was created on the sidewalk out there on Water Street, where one day I just said, hey, we got to create something for our own, because all of our work was gone.
Oh, absolutely.
So I still like going on the guys' shows because they've done and they do a great job. I was on with Art Benedict the other night. It was about 40 minutes in before we even knew what we were talking, because then all of a sudden you look up and there's 10 minutes left in the show because things go by fast. It's springtime. I think it's a lie, right? I did use a snowblower last Monday. I'm not going to lie, because I don't care if there's an inch and a half. It didn't get any use all winter. I might as well use it in the spring, right? Why shovel when you got the snowblower? You got Jonathan, so you're all set, right?
Yeah, he does his share, but right now he's into baseball, and that's kind of where my travels are taking me these days.
Speaking of that, I think we had a little comeback tonight down there in Thomaston this afternoon.
Yeah, I had to actually leave early to come up here. It was a typical kind of early April game, some mistakes here or there, and Thomaston took a 9-8 lead into the 7th and gave up 3 and was down 2, and after I think the second run scored, I thought it was time for me to leave. So I came up, and my wife called me on the way up here, and they rallied for 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th to win. I think it was 12-11. Don't quote me on that. So, they're 2-1, very two-time defending Berkshire League champions, but they're young this year. And Bob McMahon has, he said, we're going to take it early. We're going to take it on the chin. They got beat pretty good by Chippewa on Thursday, but they're doing okay. There's only 2 seniors on the team, so we'll see.
And over in Torrington today, Seymour was in town. So Brianne Gefford had her normal 4-0 shutout. I'm not sure how many strikeouts, but I'm sure it was double digits.
Well, I saw the final score. I mean, Torrington, and in the last 5 days has had Holy Cross and Seymour back-to-back, and they got a great pitcher, Nellie Dubois, but they're facing great teams. And Seymour and Kenny Brewer always has a great team, and he's had Gefford for a couple of years, and we certainly saw Sarah Lawton for Holy Cross emerge on the scene at the end of last year. So, you know what? They got to keep on plugging. But those are some great early season pitching matchups. Long way to go yet.
2-1 less on Friday with a total of 30 strikeouts out of 42 outs in the game between Lawton and between Dubois, and it was about 18 degrees. So our good friend Peter Wallace, Marianne Kalaki, we were all bundled up in our winter gear. It was warmer than Thanksgiving. We were out doing football than it was.
Peter's not a good example because he doesn't wear shorts during the summer. So,
he's got his parka on.
Parka
if you see this, Pete, we love you. We're just kidding. We're
Parka Pete, he's like,
No, you're right. It's kind of early in the year, so it's kind of tough to see what's going on. I want to thank our good friend John Bongiorno, who's behind the camera. He does on Cable 5. The last couple of shows we did on Cable 5, he was actually able to play God. Remember, he came over the speaker and said, 5 minutes left, and it was the voice of reason out there. So good thing that we have our good friend John. It's about time we got to show up on Cablevision, because right now 8 to 9 o'clock on Thursday nights, people hear me say Merry Christmas. So I'm thinking it's been a little while since we had
that. Was our last show, right?
That was actually Jimmy Pescatore and Greg Mohart.
Okay, so I wasn't there for that one.
So it's been a while. We'll probably Thanksgiving. We did the show. the live show around Thanksgiving with Torrington and
We were just starting the basketball season.
We were, and what a quick season that it was. We've got a lot of things to talk about tonight as we always do. But Patrick, a little time for you. What got you in first of all to doing radio with WAPJ?
It was actually my buddy's dad that I used to play football with in high school back to 10. And he's like, hey, do you want to get into maybe some WAPJ? And I'm like, yeah, let's try it, I like talking sports, so let's see where it goes. Went down for orientation, had a ball down there, and then it all went downhill when I met Art Bennett. It all went downhill.
The X Factor.
Had some good times with him. He let me on the show a couple of times, and I just have fell in love with it ever since.
Yep.
Went to college for it, had a ball there. So Western Connecticut. Okay. Western Connecticut, got a degree there, a bachelor's degree. So I'm rolling along. Hopefully one day this is going to pan out, but I'm having a lot of fun doing all this stuff.
We're glad to have you with us tonight. The X Factor was originally made by Luke Hutchinson.
Really?
Before Art, he moved down south, Luke did. And I used to come on his show every once in a while, and I've told you and Rick has seen it. When we first did our shows, I literally wrote my entire show out.
Yes, that's what I
Because
do.
you're just nervous the first time. It was myself and our good friend Mike Sisko, and I wrote the half hour. I didn't think we could fill a half hour. You can't shut us up in 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
It goes by so fast.
It goes by really quick. But what gives you the most enjoyment out of what you do at WAPJ?
I think just being able to express my explosive personality, once I get a cup of coffee in me, I'm gone.
You Gaffney.
You'll never see me mellow again probably
Look at
for
the
4
rain,
hours.
the last
Oh yeah, the possum's dead. That is fantastic. It's a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. I just love being able to express my opinion and show my energy about something that I really love, which is sports.
You've done a lot of local stuff too. You've
Yes.
done some football. You probably do some baseball this summer. You did some last year.
We did.
Torrington High School basketball. I mean, how do you like doing play-by-play?
I love it. Absolutely love it. It's non-stop, and you know me, I love talking. I can talk your head off for an hour and a half straight. So being able just to tell what's going on the court or on the field is just a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
How challenging do you? Which is harder, basketball or football?
Oh, basketball, because you're always talking. Except when we did that Naugatuck game where they had the 2 onside kicks in a row and they got them back, I was going nuts. I don't even know if you were able to understand me. It was one of the best football games I've ever seen. But I have to say basketball. Basketball is just non-stop. You never know what's going to happen. But it's a lot of fun.
The Naugatuck game when our good friend Kobe Covington kicked one onside kick right into the first kid. It was almost like that movie where you say, who should I go after? Who should I go after? Kicks it right at the kid, bounces off him, and before it wasn't the intentional onside kick that used to drive us nuts at Torrington, where they didn't kick the
We
ball.
saw a few years of those.
We did. This was just, it's Kobe.
Yes.
He's able to kick it deep. The kid from it. It's just, what a great season, football had. The Insomnia game, even though it didn't work out the way Torrington wanted to, what a scene. I mean, you were there, Rick. I was there. I think you were there.
Yeah, we were up
also.
in the booth.
I mean, a couple thousand, probably 1,500 people. When those kids walked out of the locker room and they just saw Friday night Field of Dreams, Friday night football in Texas, that's something that's going to be with that program forever.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen that kind of hype for a Torrington football game in a long time. And the week leading up there, the television stations there, and more press than usual. So I think it was a terrific experience for where Gaetan Rodriguez wants to bring the program. And good experience for them. And then they got reminded of who Insomnia was.
Yes, it was rather rapid. The decline was quick.
On your point as well, it's going to help with future players wanting to come and play at Torrington, because if you know that your team can get to that point, you're going to have players being like, I want to play on that stage. I want to experience that Friday Night Lights momentum that they have. So hopefully it keeps building the program. And Gaetan Rodriguez is a fantastic coach. He's really built that program up in the past couple of years.
9-1 in a state tournament.
Yes.
Game, a state tournament home game on the beautiful new turf at the Robert H. Frost. I mean, it was a terrific season. What I understand from Gaetan, they're going to do spring practice. Last couple of years, they just opted to not do spring and then just start the end of August. The last week, the end of August, like 110 degrees, if you remember. So the turf was literally melting.
Yes.
So maybe get a little spring stuff in. And plus, he doesn't have that core group of seniors that he had last year. So he probably wants to get a look at them now, and kind of take a look, going forward. We just finished up a couple of busy weeks, and we'll go next level for a minute, which would be, college, and talk about the UConn women, and also talk a little bit about the UConn men. As people know, and you and I say, we've actually never covered a loss in our history with LCS. That might change next year. I'm not saying, but I mean, for now, we've never covered a loss. And we asked our good friends up there, Roger Cleveland and Rich Elliott, who does work with us, Rusty Elliott, Dina, how to write a close game. Because there really aren't many. Notre Dame was one of them this year. There was only Maryland at the Garden. I mean, it's a challenge to write about the UConn women, but not in a bad way.
Well, we've talked about the difficulty of being a UConn beat writer, and everybody might look at the scores and say, what's difficult about that? You virtually go into 99% of the games, except maybe a South Carolina game or a Notre Dame game, knowing that you have to find something else to focus on other than the game, because people are not going to want to read 20 inches when it's a 40-point game 10 minutes in. And, you know, I think the UConn beat writers are as good as anybody around. You pointed out Sports Illustrated did a little bit of story on four of the people that you would put up that cover them all the time, and there's actually 5 or 6 that have been doing them forever. Our friends Jim Fuller, Roger Cleveland, and John Altavilla, and Rich Elliott, and
Mike Tomorrow and
Mike
Jacobs,
Tomorrow, and Jeff kind of will come and go depending on whether it's a big game because he's the columnist. But it's Carl Bennett, and that's as good a veteran of staff as covering a beat, and they do a great job, and they're up on their stuff, but it's just not easy to write about blowouts all the time.
And it's funny, whenever Gino is not sure about something, he says, Carl, because Carl Ademick will remember what happened 12 years ago on a Tuesday night somewhere in Milwaukee. Because he is the history.
He's been the longest reigning, I guess, beat writer for UConn women. So,
you know, you got the 4 Pete, the 3 seniors who, you know, from our experience of dealing with them, are just remarkable kids, you know, who are now going to become professionals in 3 days.
Well, I mean, and I think you pick up on it when you see the little sound bites. We get a chance to talk to them. I mean, they're as classy off the court as they are on, and people need to understand that. You know, Stewie is a lot of fun to talk to. Mariah Jefferson, they've never big timed you. They don't. It's the type of kid that Gino brings into the program and does them proud, and it's much more than what you see on the basketball court, and they're going to have their day in the sun down in Mohegan this week. And
Thursday night, WNBA draft, where they're expected to go 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, at one point they thought Tuck might go 4, but we'll see, which means, you know, Connecticut's going to end up with hopefully one of them.
And if not Tuck, it might be Tiffany Mitchell, or it might be Courtney Williams, the great guard from USF. But Stewie will go to Seattle. Joyce Sue Bird and Kenna Lewis out there, so not a bad, you know, group to come in on.
Imagine that grouping. Think about that.
Right.
Bird and Sketta Lewis, learning from 2 of the greatest players ever played at UConn. That's just going to be awesome for Stewart.
You know, just going back. You know, Stewart has always been that kid that plays 28 minutes a game because you don't need her any longer than that because you're up by 40.
Yes.
But when they get to play 40, like they kind of had to down the stretch, they love that.
Oh, yes.
They live for that. It's not like, oh, we're not in condition to play 40 minutes. They live for that stuff. And one of the things you always noticed about Stewart that you love is her range. When her arm goes up for a rebound, there's no one else in that forest. You know, her hand just goes up above everybody. And everybody else is leaping, but she just goes up and she just has that ability to stand.
That's why she's been so dominant, because also when she goes for a jump shot, no one can get anywhere close to the ball.
Right.
She's so tall, she's so lengthy. She is one of the greatest players ever played college basketball for the women's game.
Well, you just can't pigeonhole her anywhere. When Doris Burke comes out and says she's the best ever, the great Nancy Lieberman put a post on and said you are the greatest college basketball player ever. We all know when you get to those kind of arguments. Cheryl Miller was terrific. Diana Taurasi was terrific.
Yes.
I mean, but you know, you got to make a case for four times the champion, 4 times the most outstanding player, and you just can't guard her.
No. And you know, part of her competitiveness is she does still have that edge. You know, we saw it right before the AAC championship game where Courtney Williams, you know, said what you would expect her to say at the media meeting, whereas, yeah, I think we can beat it. What are you supposed to say? They're going to beat us by 40, which might happen. But she just said it in the wrong way. You could perhaps say we're going to try our best, leave it all out on the court, the generic. But she kind of said it. And it got back to the locker room. Gino doesn't need to say anything about this kid. These kids figuring this out. The next night when they beat him, I think by 20 or whatever it was, we asked Stuart about it, and he just smiled and says, yeah, we don't like that.
No.
You know what I mean? So she has that, okay, it's time, it's March, it's time for us to go for your jugular, so I'll be really nice to you while I stand.
She's the greatest March player ever. She just turned her game up more. My favorite part about this tournament this year, guys, was when she came out of the semifinals and going into the national championship game and said, we're going in again.
Right.
I'm like, boom, let's
you
do
heard
it.
Gino go,
Let's
oh
do
my
it.
God.
Yep, she's like, oh, God. He's
Well, you kind of usually lets the basketball do its talking.
Yes.
Rarely do you ever hear a UConn player say that.
Right.
She got flack for that, too. And she's like, what am I supposed to say?
We're not gonna
win? Come on.
And we all know because we saw the whole hullabaloo starting with the Shaughnessy quote and threw a kind of a cheap shot the next night too about
When they took him out.
Yeah.
yeah, he had a quote about nice job Gino, misspelled Gino, or he did it on purpose or not. I don't know,
It's
but-
4 letters. I
Yeah,
mean, misspelled.
but you know what, way to put your starters out up 80 to 51. I think, first of all, I would just say to Dan Shaughnessy, you're a Hall of Fame writer, stick with what you know about.
Yes.
Your own admission on WTIC, you don't know much about women's basketball. You don't like to watch it. Gino said this, then don't watch it.
The best quote ever. No one's putting a gun to your head. Don't watch it.
Right.
If you want to watch something else, do it. And the thing is, he's right. Oh, this is hurting the women's game. They have more ratings for the UConn women.
Well, that's the whole
because
thing. There's
people
nothing
want to see
outside of
win.
his own personal opinion.
Yeah.
It says it's hurting the
Yeah.
women's game. Now, do we all want to see more competitive games?
Yeah.
Sure we do. But their ratings are up. UConn is their #1. And why are we picking so much on UConn? The best example, Gino used a couple of examples and took some flack because they said, well, yeah, those teams won all the time, but they were competitive games within them winning.
Yeah.
Well, the best example I can think of is nobody was complaining that Mike Tyson was bad for boxing when he was beating the heck out of everybody first and second round. Now, a lot of them didn't like his personality off, but he was, he's bringing people in. So can we get by the score and appreciate the brilliance of the way they do things? And,
It was the same way with Tiger Woods, and Gino harped on that as well.
Yep.
Nobody was complaining when Tiger Woods was winning 10 Masters in a row or anything, or destroying people by more than 10 shots. It's the same thing. And Stewart said in her quote that this needs to start more at the high school level and more for producing better players, producing better talent.
Well,
and that she's completely right.
well, we heard this a lot from Brenda Fries when we were down at the Final Four last year, that she's saying, look, it's not UConn's job to get worse, it's our job to get better and
Yes.
start raising. He's not the only guy bringing in All-Americans. He doesn't have the #1 recruiting class coming. He's got a darn good one, and he's got the top guard in Crystal Dangerfield coming in. But, and another element that I've been thinking about as that kind of unfolded, and somebody brought this up and I don't remember, is most of the stuff is being written by guys. I think that does have something to do with it.
Yes.
So, and I appreciate what they've done, and I'm not going to...
We saw history. That's the big thing.
I think it's crazy for people to bash them because, they've just become, people just want to see somebody else win.
And I mean, the reason why they've gotten so good is, like you said, not because they get the top recruits. Our good friend Jimmy Fuller had a stat. Dude, UCLA, they get more top recruits than UConn does. He will only pick a person he knows fits in his system. It doesn't have to be the best person. He just gets the most out of any of these players. And Rick, you and I have seen it. These kids love to get out of practice.
Yes.
Because practice is so tough.
They say practice is...
When they get into a game, it's like, all right, now we just get to play against 5 other people, not 5 guys and the coaches. And how many years did we hear Gino make fun of Stewart? Oh, player of the year. It's just when I was wearing 30. Oh, player of the year.
Nothing between their ears.
Right, oh my God. But that's how he was on all of them. Bird,
the two ingredients by UConn is #1, he gets the most out of it. Doug Bruno, his good friend from the ball, was talking the other day, and he was talking about Gino's magic is he knows the right buttons to push with all these kids. And we were talking about this in Rich Elliott, and about UConn refuses to settle. When they're supposed to beat a team by 40, they beat them by 40. And that's kind of amazing. I mean, how do you not have the off night and you're going in there and you know you're going to kill a team by 50 points? I want to see closer games, but I think a lot of the criticism has been misguided. I really do.
Well, I think we're going to see closer games
Well,
next year.
absolutely.
And I think, even though we did see history, we saw 4 national championships in a row, I think we're really going to have a lot of fun next year watching Gino start pretty much from scratch. Granted, you've got like Samuelson, Nurse, and all that, but I really think he's going to have a lot of fun with it too.
But the trick is with Gino, now you've thrown the gauntlet down on Gino. Because now everyone's saying you're not going to win next year. You're coming back to the pack. So like he said at his ending conferences, these kids get a couple of days off, and then we'll be having a conversation. When Samuelson's foot heals, Collier looked really good this year. You got to get Natalie Butler with something like she did at Georgetown.
Well, they said they got to work on her foot speed, and she did sit out a year and a half. The interesting kid for me next year to see, because I still think she can contribute something, is Sanaya Chong. I think she's going to be a huge factor there next year. He's got some kids coming in. He's going to be okay, but they'll probably ask for his head when he goes 35-3.
We covered our first loss. What the heck are we going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yeah, if they can't lose in the first week, or
but it makes it kind of fun.
The world will end. But it might be more competitive next year, but I wouldn't exactly say that we're throwing UConn off the cliff, because they'll figure something out. Over to the men's side, Daniel Hamilton, Rodney Purvis, and Amit Ibrahimov all declared they wanted to go take a peek at the NBA, and Hamilton has hired an agent, so that he's all done now. And I'll start with my own opinion. I think it's ridiculous. Not a great, an okay player this year. At some points had a couple of sparks, but for the most part, really inconsistent. And one thing, you and I can relate to this from personal stuff, that I didn't like hearing was that I have to help my family out. I have to try to go to the NBA and play ball to help my family out. I saw that a few times. Well, this is your dream. This is your work. I hate when professional athletes, it's up to them. What does my opinion mean for nothing? If it was me trying to take care of my family, maybe I would do the same thing. But he's talking developmentally. He's talking about Spain. He's talking about no money if he doesn't go first or second round.
I don't know who gets into these guys' ears, because I would tend to agree with you. He had moments, and there's certainly potential there, but I don't think he's ready for the NBA. He's a model of inconsistency. Of course, I also didn't think Andre Drummond was ready for the NBA, because he couldn't make a layup from a foot and a half. He's had a pretty good career.
I was slamming it
I
down
don't know who's
people's
in, but what is wrong with not hiring an agent and going to test the waters and see where you fit in? And then if they tell you, hey, you're going in the first two and you want to go, okay, but I don't understand the rush here.
I do like the rule now where they change it where you can test the waters,
Yeah, right.
because a lot of players then get the idea of maybe I'm not ready. Like Buddy Hield, he's going to go first round. He knows he's ready to go. But the thing is with Hamilton, like you guys said, and I want to harp on a point you already made, he's so inconsistent. Only scored 12 points a game. Granted, that's in the teens, but I don't see him starting in the NBA at all right now. I think he should have came back, because if he came back, I think the UConn men could have something special next year if he returns. Granted, you got Adams, which is a fantastic prospect coming up for Kevin Ali, but at the same time, I do not think he's going to transition to the NBA.
The trick is, we saw it with Jordan Williams. It was an unusual situation where the second round pick, the Nets gave him a 2-year contract with guaranteed money, which normally doesn't happen. So unless he's got some team that has already told him that, okay, this is what you got, but to your point, go to all of them. So what do you think? What are you going to do? At least you have an idea. They're going to BS you a little bit about what they think, your value and what you can do, but what a risk.
Yeah, I mean, I've read nowhere where nobody said
it's
going to be in the first top 2 rounds,
No.
so I don't know just what he's thinking.
And it was an interesting and maddening team, as we talked about a lot this year. With the UConn men, we just had no idea. Our beat writer Patrick Tishon did a great job, and he was shaking his head most of the year with teams you thought they should beat pretty easily. They end up losing so many heartbreaks. Even back to last year with Yale, right? I mean, they lost those early games last year. They're mad.
They were hard to watch a lot of times this year. They really were. And then they'd come back and they got a little roll there at the end, but a lot of inconsistency.
And one of the things that Pat had said is that it just didn't seem as if they enjoyed playing together. So maybe the chemistry wasn't as good as it could be, and maybe you got the 2 transfers, and now they're done, they graduate. So now it's more of a molding team. But Rick, how long do you think Kevin Ollie's leash is? You usually with a national championship, you get a couple of years, like when you win the Super Bowl. He went back to the tournament this year, which is fine. He won 1 game he should have, and then unfortunately.
Well, I don't want it, because he went into it. He also won his tournament. And that's the first time that they've done that.
And got an
So
8 seed out of it. In my opinion, the committee was
I don't think. I think he's okay. I think right now it's still more his choice, and I think he's probably in demand. Should he go? I think his leash is still pretty long. I don't see it.
I gotta agree with you. The national championship is nice to have, and he knows the program. He was under Calhoun, one of the greatest coaches of all time, in my opinion, at least. Though I do think maybe in the next couple of seasons, if he's not getting more recruits, they got a great point guard coming in. I think in the next couple seasons, if they're not going a little deeper, maybe the Sweet 16 or something, maybe he should take a shot at the NBA.
If they didn't make, remember, one time right towards the end of the season, we didn't think they were going to make after they played the game against Georgia Houston.
A lot of people.
We didn't think they were going to make the tournament. I think there would have been heat on them if they didn't make the tournament again.
I like Ali though because he can rally this team. Nobody thought they were going to run the table in the AAC. Nobody thought they were going to do that.
And it was interesting because when they first went to the AAC, everybody said, well, UConn should dominate the AAC. They really haven't yet.
No.
If the women ever lose it, I'll be highly surprised, but the men, they should have. Because right now, they have talent, but it's not like Kansas talent. And like I said, they should have never played Kansas in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They won their conference. They should have been a higher seed. Granted, getting into the whole conference and the whole ranking system now is getting a little ridiculous because 1 year it's road wins, 1 year it's BPI. Who knows? But at the same time, they should have maybe went a little farther than the NCAA tournament.
You know, you're right. At least the tournament run in the AAC, they played some good ball. You know, inside there, a little less on the banding side. Now John's making hand gestures. So where are we at, Johnny? How much time we got left? 4 minutes? Well, let's go like 45 minutes. We still have more time on the camera there. We good? Good. We're only halfway through. Whatever. You know how fast things go. Unless you got a date. We good?
No, you're good.
We're good. There he is. I heard his voice.
Voice from
the
beyond.
voice from beyond. There we go. Well, you know, it's your turn to talk about how you would have kept a 5-stroke lead, whatever it was, down the last. Down the last 9.
That hurts.
I understand you and I could do that. And like you said today, he's young enough.
Well, you and I talked on the phone a little bit this afternoon. I think we were all a little stunned by what we saw. The two things that struck me, first of all, is kind of the bigger picture. First of all, he's 1-1 already, so we don't worry about that. But secondly, he's 22 years old. I mean, you know, this is always going to be there now. You know, you talked about not trusting his swing on 12, which has gotten a few others like Ballesteros and whatever. Just so uncharacteristic of Jordan Speed. Now, if that's my guy, if that's Phil, you're not as surprised because you asked me about disappointment today. I'm watching Phil yesterday. Somebody's playing a clip. He hit the ball off the top of the tent with a 1-stroke lead, and then he tried to hit one of these crazy hooks off the tree. I think he'll recover. And you know, a lot of class afterwards, but some people got lost in the collapse is the fact that he came back and birdied 2 holes.
That's the biggest thing. Even though he lost the lead, he lost that 5-shot lead, he had a chance. If he birdied the last 4 holes, he would have won the thing. If he birdied 3 out of the last 4 holes, he would have forced the playoff. If I was him, yeah, you shot horrible. But look at that picture right there, saying I almost had a shot to win the tournament, even though I shot horrible on 20.
Hey, you know, hey, this is going to sting. I mean, that's one of those, you know, when when something you really like or something you really do, you can't wait to read the papers the next morning.
Yes.
I'm sure he closed every media outlet out this morning.
Threw the phone out.
He handled himself well last night. I mean, I don't think Jordan Spieth is going anywhere. Norman collapsed on the back 9 in the Masters. Mickelson's got 6 second places at the US Open, where he probably had a couple taken away from him. Payne Stewart drained a 20-footer on him, but he did some dumb things that he even admitted. So I think he'll be all right. But it was just, that's one of my favorite events. Even if you're not a golfer, my son was home yesterday. Yeah, we'll take him out with us once in a while, but him and his baseball, half of them were watching the Masters. It's great theater. And that's kind of on, you know, that's kind of on my list there, a little bucket list. I'd like to get out and watch around someday or whatever. Even he asked me so. But watching the Masters on the final day is a lot of fun.
And it's kind of tough that the poor guy had to hand the jacket to the guy.
See, I think that's one of the worst.
Oh, by the way, I didn't just give this to you. I choked it off myself. That's horrible.
That's one. I love the green jacket. One of the greatest things against
Yes,
sports.
yes.
But having the past champion give it to him. Like,
Well, not only
He
that,
lost by 8 strokes and
Yes,
had a
yeah,
horrible
that would have been fine.
entire
But
tournament.
in that
and
circumstance,
he told them, there's people tweeting, like, we gotta throw the phones away or something, but there's people tweeting, and my God, the guy just blew the Masters.
Yeah.
We were expecting
Leave
him
him alone.
happy. I thought he handled himself pretty well,
Yes.
and he really
and a lot of people forget Tiger Woods had some of these games. Nobody ever remembers after he's won so many majors. But he's had his instances in majors where he's blown leads.
roast beef, mashed potatoes, and Yorkshire pudding. That's what Nick Fondo says will be the meal next year under Danny Willett. They get to pick the champions.
That is good.
Now he gets to go to the Masters champion locker room, which they showed the pictures on the commercial on ESPN. I would just want to sit in there for 5 minutes.
Going through the spread,
Yes,
that's what you're doing, you know? So, by the way, going to the pro ranks, the Orioles, 6-0.
6-0. Chris Davis with a big 3-run homer today.
Fantasy team too, brother, thank you.
Well,
Doing fantasy this year.
He may
John.
strike out 300 times, but he's still going to hit his 40 home runs. But you know what? It's a good start. I'm not going to make any more of it than that. I still think the pitching's a little weak, but you always want to get out of the gate quick. And there have been a lot of years the Orioles have been like 2-8, 2-9.
Right.
So glad to see them get out of the gate quick.
Nice moment today at Fenway where Big Poppy's daughter actually sang the national anthem unbeknownst to him. It happened.
Really?
So he's standing on the first base line, and all of a sudden they do, and he's like, he had his hand in his glove like almost the whole time. That's got to be a bit emotional.
Oh, I'm sure.
As the Poppy tour, you had Bobby Orr out there, you had Bill Russell out there, you had Pedro out there. They brought out all the greats from Boston.
That's the holy grail of
Yes, that's not too bad. So Red Sox dropped their home opener. At least it felt a little bit more like baseball today when the sun came out today. It wasn't bad considering what the temperature has been.
It's getting a little better. I told you I went and watched my son play at Chihuahua on Friday. And if he wasn't playing, I would have been out of there in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. It was ugly. A few snow flurries by the end of the game.
That's parental heaven points.
Brutal.
Going into that stuff when you go watch that stuff. Like so, we were in Torrington, and it was just thank God there were that many strikeouts because that means it's a quick game. You know, my Metropolitans, as I've said many times, my good friend Mr. Bongiorno, Noah Thor Syndergaard is the #1. Please stop telling Harvey he's #1 because I just don't think it. He just doesn't. It's the dark night. It's the media in New York trying to make something creative out of whatever. And now what's happened to the Dark Knight? Well, it's kind of like what he is. You know, he's not. He just likes dating supermodels. He's the anti-Derek Jeter.
Who wouldn't though?
But he keeps his business in public, where Jeter had all that,
yes,
but kept it in private and did it in a class way. You know, when he got the opening day start, I said, it's not going to work out with him. You know, I mean, I don't ever expect him right now to be dominant. Syndergaard, when he goes out there, 6'5", 270, the hair flowing, Thor, and the rest of it, forget it. You know, hopefully DeGrom is okay. The baby was, I think, born by now. He was heading back to Florida today. This afternoon he got the call. But I like those two arms much more than I like what I have coming from. And there's a Met fan behind there. So yeah, he's got the little...
no, fantasy. Fantasy keeps me up with him. He's on my fantasy team. He's hurt. He's 1 start out. If he can't start the next start, he's out. Disabled list.
Johnny's getting rid of him.
He's got a bad lat. That's not good.
He had Tommy John surgery, correct? And we see a lot of players, come back from that, not the same pitcher. And I have to agree with you. If I was Syndergaard right now, I would be ecstatic that he's getting all the praise, Harvey. Because then you can just sneak right under the radar. He's pitching, he's got the Thor-like hair. They all say, oh, he's Thor. No, he's not. He's skinny. Leave him alone. But the thing is, he is the #1 starter for the Mets right now. Harvey, good, but he's not the Harvey he first came up.
And I think that, you know, sometimes we make up this hype machine, the media does, where, like we said, the Dark Knight and all the rest of it's a nice New York story. Sometimes that's hard to live up to, I think, and that's been, you know, that's what's up for the Mets. I did notice one thing on my fantasy team. I was actually able to draft a young man who lived with us in 2008.
Did you really?
Steve Geltz is on my team. He's got a hole, he's got a strikeout.